Season 5 was a huge milestone for the show Supernatural because it actually wrapped up what Supernatural set out to do. The original plan for Supernatural was a 5-season show. And so we started this big story which had so many different levels and was so complex, and season 5 is where it all finishes. And so we had Sam, my personal favorite was that my character found out that he had to be the vessel for Lucifer, and that was a really strange kind of realization for Jared, where I was like, wait a second, like I signed on another show 5 years ago, and now I find out I'm going to be the devil for a little bit. It was really strange, but it was kind of, you know, you're telling the story about good versus evil and Satan versus angels, and it was nice to see how it all came together. And I love like the Return of the Jedi, the last book of Harry Potter, where you see all these stories that have started finally get a chance to combine and mix together, and that was sort of my favorite, just the culmination of all these events.
Yeah, I will say kind of on the same lines that there's, you know, just this big climactic culmination of all of these stories that we kind of peppered and filtered into the show over the past 5 years is all kind of coming to a head, and it's nice to see how the things that seemed so mundane and in seasons past actually came into play and meant something in the end, and so that was kind of cool. It was also a big season for Dean, because up to this point, Dean has really kind of been the bystander to the big picture, which is Sam is the chosen one for the vessel of Lucifer, and to this point, Dean has kind of been the one who's been trying to to save Sam and to be there to guide him and to keep him from going evil, and has never been a part of that mythology. But in season 5, we learned that Dean is now a crucial part of the mythology, and before then, he never really had that purposeful meaning in the storyline, aside from just being the brother. And so I think that really played well as far as motivation for both characters, because now you've got Sam and his destiny kind of lined up, and it plays into the whole mythology thing. But then now you have Dean, who is all of a sudden now he's a giant part of this story as well. So it's good.
We can try to tease for season 6 a little bit. As we just talked about, season 5 really wraps up what season 1 started, what season 2 and 3 and 4 fleshed out. And so season 6, we kind of had to go a whole new direction. And we sort of go back to how the show originally started, which is, we're hunting vampires and demons and werewolves and ghouls and shapeshifters. And we find out that after the apocalypse started, and then after Lucifer and Michael sort of were dispatched, or whatever happened to them, we find out that things in heaven and hell aren't what they seem necessarily, and that there are other factors coming into play. And we find out that the vampires and werewolves and all the ghouls and goblins that we've been fighting for 110 episodes, they're actually leaders of each individual creature, like the alpha vamp, like the original vampire, like where did it come from? And we figured out that we need to hunt these guys down, and maybe that might have some meaning in our ultimate goal of ridding the world of what's evil.
It's Supernatural, the bonus round.
Yeah, Supernatural. No, we'd have to do the ritual too often if we had to do it every time.
Every day we'd have to, get up and do some sort of seance in order to ward off the stuff that we're dealing with.
Yeah, plus in season 5, I was Lucifer, so I don't know if there's really a ritual that could kind of...
Yeah, how do you ward that off?
I don't know how you ward that off when you have to play Lucifer for a few days, so maybe we should have. Maybe that would have helped some things, but... I don't. I mean, I guess we have routines a little bit. I mean, in the morning I try and go for a little jog and read my stuff for the day and really just kind of focus on it. And he and I will usually on the way to work go over the script and go over what we have for the day and through our scenes. And so kind of.
We'll run dialogue in the hair and makeup trailer while we're getting ready for the shoot. And, so that's after this many that kind of preparation time needed it just kind of gets less and less and less because we've done it so much that it's like we don't need a day to prepare for, you know, this scene. It's like we need 10 minutes. Give us 10 minutes.
Right.
So that's nice.
I don't really think so. I mean,
The success of this show?
Yeah, the success of the show, I guess. Yeah, the fact that we're now animated is pretty supernatural to me.
That is a phenomenon.
Had you told me this when I was in high school, I would have called you a liar. But no, not necessarily.
Yeah, no, we've been pretty, you know, kind of ghost free, I guess, on the set.
Yeah.
Except for the ones that are in makeup.
Yeah. I think you get to do a lot more awesome, cool things in animation than you can in reality. I just watched our first episode, and it's phenomenal. And there's so many cool visual effects, and there's so many cool stories you can tell that you couldn't logistically tell in real life. Like there are things you can do with Sam and Dean that you just can't do when they're human beings, you know. And so that was exciting for me. I was actually watching it kind of excited, like as a fan, like, ooh, that was so cool. Like, look at Sam, like he's cool. Look at Dean, Dean's cool too. So that was really fun for me. And then obviously the fact that it's made off of our show is just really flattering.
It might also lend itself to, you know, opening up the door to a whole new set of fans. Right. You know, people that watch, that are big anime fans, you know, they might watch this and be like, wow, this is really, I like these characters, I like this storyline, I like this kind of genre of show. Let's see what the live action one looks like.
Join the supernatural world.
Yeah. It's difficult to capture the raw, rugged handsomeness.
And of me, but they did it well. So good thing they didn't have to for Jensen.
No, it's cool, you know. I mean, I said earlier, I think they fit Sam and Dean very well.
Yeah.
You know, I look at that and I'm like, okay, well that doesn't look like me, but it really fits Dean, and it looks like a good Dean.
I think it's it's a shout out to the live action. It's a shout out to, you know, because you can tell it looks like Sam and Dean, but they've done it properly to the genre, to where they got rid of all my zits, they got rid of all the imperfections in my face. They cleared up real nicely, so I'm grateful.
Which took months.
Took months to do. But it's a great looking, cool character that fits the genre. I've seen some anime before, and you know, very cool jagged lines and very like distinct features. So it was cool. It was like, damn, like comic Jared is pretty cool looking. If only. So I'm very excited with it. I've seen bits and pieces. I mean, I don't necessarily seek it out, and I don't own it, but I've seen bits here and there. You know, I'm actually excited about it now, having watched a whole episode of something. Granted, it was supernatural, but I'm actually like, this is kind of cool, and they really tell a cool visual story. And even in watching the episode, I noticed shout outs to our old episodes, and I was like, wow, like this is a cool visual for somebody who's interested in kind of visual storytelling. I think it's a really nice medium to become aware of.
I will say it exceeded what I thought it would look like.
Yeah, big time.
You know, I don't know, the animation that I'm familiar with is Family Guy and The Simpsons. So,
yeah, South Park.
So, you know, looking at this, it's just like, wow, that not only is the, you know, the animation itself very good and believable, and the details are fantastic, but even the direction, the camera movements, the way that the story is told through, you know, through the I guess
visual storytelling.
I mean, through what we consider the lens.
Right.
It's very in the same vein of what we shoot and how we shoot and what is supernatural. And I think that was really cool.
And we watched it in Japanese. It's not yet subtitled. And I think we both felt like
still
we were
got
apart.
the story.
Like we understood the story. We understood what was going on. We understood
just from the visualization and how they told the story kind of through the audience's mind. Yeah.
geez, I mean, season 1 was full of them just because those seasons to me, I mean, looking back 5-6 years later, those seasons to me were the beginning of what's become such a big part of my life. I mean, the pilot, I always go back to the pilot. I love the episode Skin, which is the shapeshifter one that we kind of touch on in this anime one. And that's what I've always said. I've been like, I always remember, because I love the dynamic of two brothers kind of going at it and not trusting each other and who are you, who am I, and blah, blah, blah. And so the pilot obviously will always stick out, and Skin will always stick out from season 1. You know, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that I'm flabbergasted and flattered that they've decided to turn Supernatural into an animated series. I wish I had some answer as to why it was happening. It's sort of like a really lucky, cool thing that I'm so happy to be a part of. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it touches such a wide variety of viewers. And Supernatural, the story, though kind of about Sam and Dean and these two brothers and our relationship, is also full of like mythology and, you know, the reluctant hero and good versus evil and the friendly beast, and it's full of these elements that are critical in storytelling and universal. And so I think that's why it has such a massive audience and why they're able to sort of. They've also taken a show that, you know, we tell a great story. We have great special effects and visual effects and makeup effects, but we're still a TV show. We're not a movie, so we don't have necessarily the budgets to really tell it with CGI and stuff, but here in this animated format, we can tell the stories full out, and you know, you get to see things that you wouldn't be able to see in live action.
I also think you can't deny the fact that, you know, when this show first started, in 2005, that was really the influx of the Japanese horror movies being remade in the Ring, all of those, you know, the what is it, The Tale of Two Sisters, or, you know, that is a big genre for Japanese fans. You know, they love that kind of storytelling. They love horror movies. They love thriller movies. They love the suspense. They love that thing. So it's a big market in Japan. So to me, in that sense, it kind of makes sense that this show that kind of encapsulates that plays to that genre of filmmaking, gets the nod as the first anime. You know, I think that was one of the reasons why, you know, the show is so well received in Japan, is because it plays in that genre, and that is a big genre in Japan. So I think that might have a little something to do with it as well.